Has the bull market returned for Bitcoin? Are we about to head to new highs really soon? I want to look at that tonight. I had a chat with some people in my Telegram channel earlier today. I noticed a pattern and I wanted to share it with you here and see if there's any validity to my concerns about maybe another week or two of consolidation before a very likely bullish February. So right now, Bitcoin is coming in at 102.3K. Definitely not looking weak, looking quite strong actually. So I want to go take a look at some metrics on different time frames to see what's going on with it and if we should be really bullish right now. This is Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake, and this is not financial advice. So just to show you kind of like how amazing Bitcoin is looking right now, this is on the daily time frame. I have my moving averages pulled up, not not without some clutter, of course. Maybe what I'll do is just turn those off briefly and show you the bullish argument for Bitcoin, and then we can get into kind of the pattern that I noticed. So yeah, a few things. We have a red Gauss ribbon that we're breaking through, which is typically a bullish sign. And we're also seeing the Bollinger Band start to expand outward. So those are two very bullish signs. We had some really good volume on this wick right here. We did head down, almost made it to my red zone, which was between 84,500 and 88,500. We didn't quite make it there. We were off by a few $100s, but we got pretty close. And so this begs the question of, well, are we done? Was that the bottom? Are we just going to move on and make a new all-time high right now? And it's a really good question. So let me turn on the averages again, because I noticed a pattern that I want to point out to you on the daily time frame and maybe get your feedback in the comments or on my Telegram channel. I want to focus on this death cross that occurred between the 100-day whole moving average and the 200-day whole moving average. So this is the death cross because the 100 has crossed underneath the red. And I want to look at instances where this has happened before and how long it's taken for the market to recover. This death cross occurred on Friday, January 10th, which was exactly 7 days ago, so exactly a week ago. Notice that price action did wick all the way down to about 89K, just slightly above my red zone. And then there was a really impressive buy wick, took us back above the 10-day HMA, the 20-day HMA, and the 50. So all these are stacked from least to greatest, which is bullish. Also have this potential double bottom pattern, which is also bullish. So is there any reason to believe that we might hit resistance potentially at the red 200-day HMA? And then there's also a 20-week HMA, which is a little bit higher than this one. And so that's something we need to look at as well. So I want to look at this death cross. So when a death cross of a 100-day and a 200-day is somewhat significant, I think. Those are some pretty high time frame daily moving averages relative to other ones. So I like to isolate these two and look at past instances in history where this death cross has occurred and what it's meant. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to turn volume off too. I just want to focus simply on the death cross. Okay, so let's go back in time to our last death cross. It's been a while, right? Okay, here we go. April of 2024, we had a death cross. And, I'm not looking at other moving averages. I'm quite simply just looking at these two. So April 23rd, how long did it take from that time for price to recover and actually get above the 200-day HMA? Let's see. So it took until here. So until July. So 2 months before we got above the HMA. We just ended up going right back down. But okay, so 2-month period right there. Let's go see where the previous death cross was. Here's another death cross, January 18th. How long did it take for us to break out to new highs? This was 2024. It took almost a month, 3 weeks. Okay, let's go back even further. Find our next death cross. This is August of 2023, August 18th. How long did it take for us to get above the 200-day HMA? Looks like it happened in October, so about a month and a half. Okay, let's go back and find another death cross. So this is May 10th, 2023. How long did it take us? June 21st, so about a month. Okay, so what are you noticing? This is a pretty short time frame for recovery, but we haven't seen anything shorter than 3 weeks. All right, let's go back to another death cross. Here's a death cross, November 25th, 2022. And how long did it take us to get back above about 2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks during a bear market. And let's go back to a previous death cross. Whoa. Not sure what I did there. Let's see if we can kind of shrink this a little bit so we don't have to get so granular here. May 10th, 2022. It took quite a while. It took till July to get back above the 200-day HMA. So it was like 2 months. Okay. Here we had a death cross in December of 2021, and it took all the way till February of 2022. So about 3 months. So again, these are not long time frames that this is like taking, but it's taking some time. Death cross in April of 2021, didn't get back above the 200-day HMA and do a golden cross until July. So that one took about 3 months. And then we had some death crosses during 2020 that were pretty short-lived. July of 2020, we had a death cross. Wow, this one only lasted July 7th to July 26th. So that's like 3 weeks. Quite a few death crosses. Then we had September 14th to October 18th, so about a month. See this death cross, March 2020, April 20, about a month. It seems like with these death crosses, it takes on average about a month to recover. It can take up to 2 months sometimes. So this is July 30th. Took till about October. That was quite a long one. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit more. Honestly, I don't know how many more of these we need to really look at. I think you can see there's typically, like here we had a death crosses. I mean, this was happening even in 2017, right? Like there's perfect example, like right here. July 13th, 2017, we had a death cross and we didn't get back above. Looks like we kind of broke above here, August 2017. So it really seems like it's about a month from the time you have a death cross. It could be as short as 2 weeks. It could be as long as, as 2 months. I think we're probably looking at, in our situation now, we are breaking back above the 100-day HMA. So let me be clear on that. 1 week after forming a death cross, we're breaking above the 100-week HMA. I'm just not so sure we can get above the 200-day on our first attempt and maintain that. So I'm open-minded to, maybe getting above it a little bit, but then we also have the 20-week to contend with. So this is just simply moving averages. Something else I noticed on the daily as well when I was preparing for this video was the stochastic oscillator is getting pretty high. It's at 96.17. We're not far away from hitting 100. So this suggests to me there's a pretty high probability of some kind of pullback at the 200-day. Now, overall, my thesis has not changed. I did say publicly in my video that I felt that the soonest I could see Bitcoin recovering would be mid-January to February. And we're in mid-January now. So I'm in that time zone that I originally said. But I did say on my Telegram that I was short-term bearish for January. I felt like we would need the rest of this month to range. I am actually not sure if we'll take this low out and get to my red zone. I mean, this was a pretty strong buy wick, but we could certainly range. And that's kind of turning into my base case right now. If we have a breakout at like right now, that would surprise me. Like if we had a breakout over the weekend and we went to a new, sustained all-time, like we sustained an uptrend and broke out of this range, that would surprise me. But let me turn on the 20 or on the weekly moving averages and take a look at what's going on there. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, so this is the weekly. I'm going to actually turn on the rest of the HMAs. So the 50, the 10, and the 20. I'll leave the 40 turned off. And so we are back above the 10. It's curling back up. So this suggests that we could, head back up in price action maybe next week. But look at our 20. Our 20 is at about roughly 106K. Typically when we hit a hill like this, we do go down a little bit, but this could surprise us, right? We wick down. I did say we would probably wick down somewhere between the 50 and 100. We wick just below the 50. didn't quite make it to the red zone. The 50 was actually in the red zone for a little while, but then it came out. How overheated are we looking on the weekly? I don't think we're overheated on the weekly. I think we've actually cooled off quite a bit. Yeah, we've got this really nice formation. The question is this going to be a lower high on the stochastic oscillator, or are we heading back up for another round? Again, my feeling is we're going to range for a little while. That could mean that we try to retest maybe the 20-week HMA, but I just have the suspicion that we're going to range to the end of January. And I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about that, but that's just my feeling based off of the TA that I've looked at. On the monthly, we're certainly looking a lot better right now than we looked maybe a week ago. The monthly is a nice green candle, and that might stay green for this month, and that I would certainly prefer that. We have the 10-month HMA that has now been overcome again, even with this little wick down, just wicked underneath it. The 20-month is right in the red zone. So, we still got this beautiful golden cross of the 50 and 100 months. So I think no matter how you slice it, who really cares what happens in the next couple of weeks? As far as I'm concerned, I could care less. I feel like we made it to the middle of January. It's time to get bullish. If I'm short term, I say short term bearish, but really short term crabbish. I could see us having another week or two of crabbing, and maybe January does close green, but maybe January is not the month where we go to, and maybe that's what we spend our time in January doing, is building our way towards breaking out again. If we look at the Bollinger Band on the weekly, pull that up, you can see that we are still away from the top of the band, but look at where, I'm going to turn off the HMAs. Look at where we went. And this is why I'm kind of like, well, who cares? We're right at the median line of the Bollinger Band. We're right there. So typically the median line of the Bollinger Band, we get a bounce, when we hit that. See, we bounce in a bull market. Bounce. Here we went underneath it for a little bit. So honestly, to me, overall, this looks like a place to kind of start to turn around and get bullish again. I just don't think that we're going to go off to a new all-time high in January. I think February is the more likely place for that. But I'm still open to some downside. Yeah, I think it's possible. If we look at the wave trend for Bitcoin. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn on my complicated wave trend indicator. We had a bearish divergence on December 23rd on the weekly, and we came down. So if we were to rocket off to a new all-time high right now, we're probably going to leave the red zone and get into some pretty overheated territory on the wave trend. Could happen, right? And this is a nice double bottom formation, and this is, it's certainly playing out with further upside. I'm still very bullish though. Overall, I'm bullish. I think we're going to get another nice leg up. It's just a question of, will it happen right now, or will it happen in a few weeks? My bet is in a few weeks. So I'm just telling people, be patient with Bitcoin. It may not do what you want it to do right away, but I think it's gonna go somewhere. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin dominance and see what's going on there. So Bitcoin dominance continues to look like it's struggling. So if we, this is the weekly Bollinger Band overlaid with the fibs, and you can see that we are facing continuous rejections at the 618. This really is starting to look like a dead cat bounce. That was our base case for what it was. You can see if we turn on the Gaussian channel, we actually even went down into the channel, which is a sign of weakness, and looks like we're heading back down again. Bitcoin dominance is not looking particularly bullish, so I still think an altcoin season is not too far away. But a lot of your alts are sitting around not doing a whole lot because Bitcoin dominance still is fairly high. I mean, 57.45% is a high Bitcoin dominance. So let's just be patient here as well. And I think our altcoins will run in in the near future. So I think the overall point, I feel like I've made this way more dramatic on my channel than it really needs to be. So hopefully I can clarify some of that here on this video. But I think just overall, it makes sense to be bullish on Bitcoin. I'm getting very granular with my prediction, and it's probably not the best idea, but I suspect that 88 point whatever K or 89K, around there, I suspect that could have been the bottom. we've seen, and this is something I talked about on my channel, is that once we get close to 90K, we're likely to see it bounce. That's exactly what happened. I have receipts in my Telegram if you want to see it. It reminds me of what happened back in the summer when we had to drop to 49K. A few weeks later, I conceded that probably was the bottom, and that ended up being the case. And we've seen this all cycle long, like this wick down here to 50 something. That was a bottom for a while. There was also down here where we went to this was in 2023, went to like 19K, never saw that price again. And repeatedly we've seen these moves. Like I remember there was one into the 30s. Yeah, right here. This was in January 2024, went to 38K, never saw that price again. So there is a chance that that's the case here. Bollinger Bands are kind of wide. They're wider than they've been in a while. So, take that for what you will. I'm not sure what that exactly implies. I would like to see a really strong movement out of Bitcoin on the weekly in early February to confirm this continued uptrend. So, yeah, I'm still not liking the way the ADX and DI is looking on the weekly. Seeing the DI just kind of make its way down lower high after lower high, seeing the ADX start to it's looking like it's starting to crest pretty soon, probably somewhere at a trend strength around 48 to 50. I'm not liking that. I want to see some strength here. So I want to see this break out and get another hill like right here. I want to see that to convince me that the trend should still be up and not just sideways at best. So not enjoying what the ADX and DI looks like. We still have a bearish SAR dot. So this is our second bearish SAR dot. So if we can't overcome like roughly 108.5K, which is right below our all-time high, we're going to get a third parabolic SAR bearish dot. Now, how many do we need to have? I mean, we've had instances before, like if you go back to January, where there were just two bearish dots and we started a whole new, brand new trend, uptrend. That could happen. That very well could happen. Here's another example where we just had two bearish dots and off we went on the SAR. It just depends, right? Like let's go back to like 2017. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Yeah, in 2017, sometimes we had quite a few as the bull market progressed, though. Like here, we just had three bearish dots and then we went through. So, I mean, it's anybody's guess as to how long this is going to take. We could already be breaking out again as we speak, and maybe I'm wrong. In January, we actually put in a new all-time high. Initially, I said mid-January was the soonest, if you go back to my old videos, but, I became a little bit more bearish based on some of these technical indicators that seemed a little bit hot. I think what's more important than trying to guess what's going to happen next week or the week after is just having a plan, honestly. Nobody can predict the market perfectly, and I certainly can't. I can look at all kinds of things and, it's just telling me what happened in the past, right? So like Snabble RSI, it looks good, right? But at the same time, it's hitting some resistance here. So like, what's the trend? We went in the very hot zone already, and usually you have to cool off for a little while when that happens. So I'm sort of at a crossroads here, and this is my prediction. I'll put this out here, whether it comes true or not, you'll know in a few days or weeks. I think Bitcoin could continue to go higher, but I think it's going to face rejection. And I think that rejection is likely to happen at the HMA 20. And if it doesn't happen at the HMA 20 and it should go higher, I think it's going to face rejection at the SAR. And I think that Bitcoin is more likely to kind of go sideways for a little while as we head into February than it is to move higher. Now, do I think that 89-ish K or whatever that was, I keep forgetting the price, 89.5K or whatever it was, do I think that that is the macro low? I think there's a good chance it is for this particular leg. I think there's a good chance that it is. However, I would not be shocked if we were to retest this region if we get rejected up here and have to come back down. So let me just be clear about that. Bitcoin right now is kind of in no man's land. Admittedly, on the daily time frame, just going back to that time frame, it does look good. Okay, daily time frame is looking good. The thing about the daily that also has me, concerned is we have this Gaussian channel that's very fat, wide, and concave down. We're at the top of the channel. We did hold the bottom, which is very bullish. So the question is this a breakout now? Are we going straight up? We did break through the bearish SAR. We formed our first daily bullish SAR dot, so that's good, suggesting we're probably going to have some more upward price action. But as you saw with the stochastic oscillator, we're likely to cool off. So I don't think we're going to take out the all-time high this month, and we'll come back and see if I was right or wrong about that. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But that's just my guess. So, but overall, like I said, I mean, the plan doesn't change, right? Like I think Bitcoin is very likely this quarter. I've been very bullish on this quarter for a while. I think February is probably the time where Bitcoin is going to make a move to the upside. And that is going to open the way for a really nice altcoin season. And that's what I think is likely to happen. That's kind of my base case for now. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking is likely for the market. A bit of sideways action between now and the end of January. Despite all the great news, I think a lot of that's already been priced in. Inauguration Day, I think it's been priced in. And you could even see a dump on Inauguration Day. Don't be surprised if that happens because everybody's getting excited about it now. And maybe when the day comes, the market actually turns around. So I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking is likely to happen. And then some ranging. Could we put in a lower low than what we had at 80, 89K? I don't know. That I could see an argument for that being the low. So we'll just have to see on that. But patience is the most important thing. We're still in a bull market. No reason to think we're heading into a bear market. This is just a healthy range before another breakout to another all-time high. And I think that'll mark the transition from, the Bitcoin dominant market to something that is more dominated by Ethereum and altcoins. I think that transition is going to happen in the first half of this year. And so I'll stand by that until proven otherwise. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of Crypto Simulation Theory. Again, I'm the Gaussian Snake. I invite you to like this video if you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this, more data-driven analysis, and comment if you have anything to say. Comment directly down below. Join my Telegram if you want more discussion like this and multiple perspectives from different people. It's completely free. Would love to have you there. Otherwise, I'll see you again next time. Bye.